Looks like we're right about ready to get started. I want to welcome everyone to Lawrence School's 6th grade Family Information Night. My name is Tom Bushy, I'm the principal, and although I can't see the audience, I see a lot of names, a lot of familiar names, and hopefully there are 6th grade students with families right now tuned in. So if you're watching right now, I want to be clear that this event is for 6th grade students. Families, of course, are welcome to stay. We want both families and students to be here for this event. So again, my name is Tom Bushy. I'm the principal of the Lawrence School, and this is my 6th grade Family Information Night, and first one virtual. So we are trying something new, and hopefully this works out well. And as we learn more about what next year's school year will be like, we will put together another event to help with the transition from grade 6 to 7 for your children. Usually I go to the Morse Pond School to meet the kids. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that this year. But I have a son who's in 6th grade, so I know a lot of his classmates, and I know it's a really wonderful class, and we're really all looking forward to welcoming them to the Lawrence School and working with them in the next school year. Tonight's event is pretty straightforward. We want to give you some information about what life at Lawrence School is like. We have a wonderful group of panelists here, staff members in the school who I'm going to introduce in a moment. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that make Lawrence School great. And then we will show a short video, which would take place of the self-guided tours that we usually do in this evening, where family members can walk around with their kids to different areas of the school and learn about the different areas of the school building. After that, we are going to introduce some of our current students, some of our current 8th grade students who will join some of the members here, some of the teachers that are here in a panel that will answer any questions that you have about the Lawrence School, about the transition, anything from our extracurricular offerings traditionally to, the dress code. We usually have some questions about Innovation School, changing from class to class. And we can talk more about what those questions will look like soon. But you could start thinking about your questions, anything that comes up over the course of the next 20 minutes or so, and put the questions right in the chat, and we will, Mrs. Vieira will moderate them, and we'll try and get as many questions answered as possible. So to start, I do want to introduce some people here who are in the group. I'm going to introduce them in order of which they appear on my screen, which I believe is probably the same screen you're looking at. And I just will ask that the panelists wave hello as I introduce them. So we have Miss Selby Bourne. She is the current 8th grade school counselor, which means that next year she will be the counselor of the incoming students. The guidance counselors changed. It changed with the group that they currently have. So last year she had grade 7, this year grade 8, next year we'll be back to grade 7. Mrs. Vieira is the assistant principal. She's going to be moderating the chat. Ms. Cassavant is the current 7th grade guidance counselor. Mr. Gonzalez is the school psychologist. Mr. Kazarian, you will hear from later, is the guidance director for grades 5 through 12. He's going to talk a little bit about the counseling process later on. Mr. Perea Kane is one of our world language teachers. He teaches French and Spanish. Ms. Valesig is a history teacher on, and there's Anna, she's team 3. Dr. Meg Valdez is our special ed building administrator. Remember that name for families that have questions specific to learning plans, and reach out to Dr. Valdez. She's prepared to answer any emails that people might have that are student or program specific that might not be good to put in the chat. They might want to go directly to Dr. Valdez. Amanda Sample is one of our counselors. She's adjustment counselor for the Bridge program, which you may have questions about, and for our Connect program. Ms. Hennessy is a 7th grade ELA teacher and also the team leader on Team 1. Miss Cahill is a music teacher. She teaches choir and this year the 7th grade music courses. Miss Solich is a math teacher on team 1, right? And behind the scenes here is Mr. Weber, who I want to say thank you to Mr. Weber for hosting this event from the tech perspective, and will help us out with the video shortly. Okay. Panelists, I have a thumbs up to keep going forward here. Have I left anything out for introductions? Okay. Here we go. I just want to talk a little bit about some of the things about Lawrence School that are specific to our school. One of the first things that I usually talk to the kids about when they start the school year is our school motto, which is pride, respect, responsibility, and compassion. We will work on these themes over the course of the year. Traditionally, we have an advisory, which meets in the morning and has monthly themes. And usually the first few themes as we start the school year are pertaining to our school's motto. This year specifically, we've been talking with the kids about pairing compassion with action and calling out any unkind or unwelcome behaviors that peers might be making. So if you have any kids who are in the older grades, then perhaps you've heard them talk about that as well when we go around and talk to the kids as much as we can about the school mottos. So we have a positive behavior model, which has established a common language for communicating our behavior expectations to all areas of our school building. And this year, the students are staying put in the classrooms while the teachers are moving around the building for the most part. But in a given year, the students, as they move about the building, will see signage around that indicates the appropriate positive behavior models as they go throughout their regular school day, for example, in the cafeteria or the hallways. You know, we do hope to transition back to that traditional school model, hopefully soon, right, next year. At the Lawrence School, we have a team structure. You heard me mention some of the teachers here that are on specific teams, or Miss Hennessy is a team leader. We have 6 teams at the school. There are 3 teams per grade. And on any given year, we have between 80 and 90 students on each team. The team model serves a couple purposes. It primarily is a way to make the students feel a small connection to a smaller group within a larger school. The team teachers have time built into their days with our traditional schedule where they can talk about best practices and ways to support the kids, not just academically, but also socially and emotionally. So the team structure is one of the aspects of Lawrence School that people would promote as a foundational and most important aspect of how we run our school building. The Lawrence School is currently in its 10th year as an innovation school. We are in a bit of a holding pattern now to determine what the following year will look like as it pertains to an innovation school, but I do always like to point out some of the lasting legacies of our innovation school plan that was developed 10 years ago and then revised 3 years after that, and again in its 5th year. So some of the legacies of the school you probably have heard, and I even mentioned earlier tonight, is our Dress for Success initiative. That question always comes up, and the kids can answer it better than I can, so we'll let that question get asked shortly. Our flexible schedule, you heard me mention the teams, how they have time to get together. We also have time for our in-department staff to get together. So Ms. Pelessig might get together every other day with other members of the history department to talk about instruction, pacing, assessments, and those are also good things that you might want to ask one of our on-team teachers later on in this event. Our literacy program also is a lasting initiative of the Innovation School, and Ms. Hennessy actually coincidentally is one of the co-chairs of the literacy committee, and they every year work to promote different aspects of literacy for the teachers across all disciplines to highlight the importance of literacy, not just in ELA, but in every subject that we teach the kids here at school. And lastly, another initiative from Innovation School Plan that I'd like to point out is one that we developed more recently, about 5 years ago. Ms. Valesig and Ms. Lewis are the advisors, the co-advisors of our of that group, the advisory committee. And I mentioned earlier, but you will learn a lot more about this program. It's a really great aspect of our school where the kids start every day in a much smaller group of kids than they would in their regular classrooms. There may be 8 to 10 students paired with one adult who they meet with every day to build a culture of connectivity and to just have a smoother transition into the start of the school day, and then build a relationship and talk about themes over the course of the year. Anything on the Innovation School that any of the panelists wish to speak to right now? Of course, you do not have to, but if there's anything that you feel I might have gone over too quickly and anyone wants to jump in. And if not, that's totally fine. One more note before we get to the video that we've prepared. And I just want to share. I always like to share this at this event because I understand that the transition from 6 to 7 can be a stressful one. It can be stressful for the kids, and it also can be stressful for the families. And I want to say with complete confidence that this transition for the kids, regardless of the fact that we're in a pandemic, regardless of the fact that education has never looked the way it does right now, is going to be as smooth as possible. I mean this sincerely. There's a group of staff members in this building who love kids and they love to work with the kids at Falmouth, and they care about your kids tremendously. So we're going to make sure that no matter how anxious or ambivalent anyone's feeling about the transition process, there are people who are going to be immediately in your children's corner, and our communication lines are open always. So please just feel comfortable with the fact that we're going to make sure that everything goes as smoothly as possible. I mentioned already that I do have a child in 6th grade, and I've got one who's currently in 8th grade who you meet soon, and one who's in 9th grade. So I've been through this process a couple times now already, and I can't speak highly enough about the way that the staff here are eager to work with your kids and make sure they have a great experience here. Okay, with that, I am going to ask Mr. Weber to prepare to show a video of some of our current students taking you on a virtual self-guided tour of the school building. And again, you might want to make some notes of some of the things they touch on. They're going to give a lot of brief overview stuff of areas around the school and programs in the school that you may have some clarifying questions you want to make a note of. So Mr. Weber, can go ahead and share that video.
Hello, 6th grade students and families. My name is Sam, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about the team model and daily schedule we have at Lawrence. It's similar to the Morse Pond teams because you get assigned to a team and you stay in that group all year long. What's different is that you have 5 team teachers rather than just 2, which are your ELA, Math, Science, Social Studies, and term teachers.
Hi, I'm Ryan. Each team has about 80 to 100 students on it, and different students on your team will be in each of your classes. And it's fun because your entire team has lunch at the same time. Your team becomes your community within the school, and you get to do cool things like team building events and field trips. In previous school years, 7th grade teams have visited Martha's Vineyard, Battleship Cove, and the Science Museum in Boston.
I'm Jazzy. Our typical schedule at Lawrence has 7 periods plus an advisory period to start your day. Your advisory is a small group of students and a teacher that you will meet with every day throughout the year. During advisory, you get to do some activities with your group, check in on your assignments, and learn about our school, any school-wide announcements. Lots of students will say it's a nice way to ease into your school day.
Hi, I am Molly. Another nice thing that is unique to Lawrence is that you get to walk to each of your classes during passing time, no more lining up, and finally, no walking with the teacher. Finally, we have dress code at Lawrence. Students are required to wear a collared shirt with no logo and any solid color you choose, and bottoms must be cotton, chino style pants in tan, navy blue, black, gray, and hunter green. No jeans allowed. It sounds like a lot, but everyone gets used to it and has to do it.
Hello, my name is Casey Roth, and I'm in a 7th grade classroom. This space is an example where you would be taking math, ELA, or world history. In ELA, we learn about different styles of writing, read class novels and companion texts, and participate in Socratic seminars. Math has a grade level pre-algebra or advanced pre-algebra, and you will be assigned to the course that best meets your needs. And in world history, you will learn about the ancient world history and geography.
Hello, my name is Kira, and I'm in a 7th grade science lab room. You can see this room is a little different than the other classroom and has a different setup, so we can do hands-on experiments. Another great thing we have at Lawrence is the vernal pool. The 7th grade classes go out to the vernal pool to take water samples, observe the changing habitat, and learn about the life cycle of the wildlife native to Cape Cod.
Hi, I'm Bailey, and this is the 7th grade art studio. Art is one of the 3 trimester classes that you will take next year. For the other 2 trimesters, you will take engineering and a technology class called Digital Literacy and Innovation. Every student in 7th grade will take these classes with their teams. A popular project in art class is using clay to make ugly mugs. In engineering, you use recycled materials to make a solar car, and the whole team gets together for a race at the end of the term. In the Digital Literacy Innovation class manages the Bulldog Bulletin, our school's blog, and showcases exciting Lawrence events and celebrates our students' achievements.
Hi, I'm Layla. Every student at Lawrence gets an opportunity to take a language. Traditionally, we have Spanish and French, or world language, and culture. The teachers try to get you to 90% proficiency in target language, so you will be speaking a lot of Spanish or French.
Hello, I'm Eva. Another great thing about the Lawrence School schedule is that every student gets to take a music class. Students that select chorus, band, or chamber strings will meet every other day with the teacher all year. Traditionally, we have 3 concerts over the course of the year, and the groups get really good at playing together. If the ensembles aren't your style, you'll get a chance to play the guitar or ukulele every other day for half the year.
Hi, my name is Emma, and I'd like to tell you a few additional elective courses that you get to choose from when you come to the Lawrence School. Each student takes a health and physical education course. Each class starts in the locker room where we change into our PE dress code clothes and participate in units of team sports, racket sports, and a mile run challenge. In health, we learn about physical and emotional health topics.
Hi, I am Tyler. Finally, with our typical schedule, you would have the choice between a course called Unlocking Social Studies or Social Justice. In Unlocking Social Studies, you get to choose topics to research and explore that really interest you, and you get to do group projects and presentations. Finally, Social Justice is a course that explores historical and present-day events that teaches us to recognize injustices and learn ways to take action and make a positive impact in our community.
Hi, I'm Jackie, and we want to say thank you so much for joining our video tour of Lawrence. Hopefully, we were able to give you a good idea of what life is like at our great school, where pride, respect, responsibility, and compassion is our school motto that keeps work going every day, and we remind each other to stay positive. Thanks for watching.
I'm certain there's rounds of applause going on right now in your home. So it was from my perspective, a really great way to showcase a school building that you're not allowed to visit right now. And I will say that the kids did a fantastic job. It's not easy to be pulled out of Bulldog time and film a quick video, let alone with the masks and the distancing and disinfecting of the microphone and whatnot. The kids did a great job. And thanks again to Mr. Trevor for coming and filming that. So I see we've got some students that have joined us in the group here. I'm going to introduce them before I have Mr. Kazarian talk a little bit about our counseling work. So as I say your name, kids, if you could just wave hello so people can put a name to a face. I see Kira Hibbert. I see Jazzy Grillo, Cameron Ray, and Nathan Bushy. It's a nice group of kids we've got here, and they're I'm sure very eager to answer as many questions as you have and help you smooth your transition from grade 6 to 7. So, Mr. Kazarian, can you please take a couple minutes to talk to us about, upcoming steps for the transition process to Lawrence School?
Yes, good evening, everyone, and welcome grade 6 students and grade 6 parents. I am very proud to be the guidance director of an outstanding counseling team at Lawrence School. We have 3 counselors, as Mr. Bushy said, and they serve a role as guidance and adjustment counselors. And what they do is they'll work with each student to help them create a schedule, to help them transition into Lawrence, and then certainly to work with the parents as well regarding student social emotional development throughout the 2 years that they will be at the Lawrence School. Mrs. Bourne is an outstanding counselor. She'll work to get to know each of the students and to get to know the parents as well. And certainly I want the parents to be assured that the counselors are going to be advocates for your sons and daughters. They're also going to be the liaison between the school and you to help your child to grow and to succeed. Throughout these scheduling events, this is a first in a series throughout this school year. So tonight we give you an information night. In February, we hope to come to Morse Pond School virtually and do virtual classroom visits where the counselors will talk to students about picking classes and course selections. And then we'll have some students talk to the grade 6 students as well in a question and answer panel. Sometime in March, we will set up a virtual parent night with our department heads so you can learn specifically the curriculum materials and that are used in the courses and the materials that will be covered in those courses. And then at some point in May, we've always traditionally had the Morse Pond students come over and visit Lawrence School. Fingers crossed, maybe by the end of May, that might be a possibility. But if not, we may come up with another type of virtual tour. And then in August, traditionally, the students come into the school to get their schedules, find their classrooms, meet their teachers and counselors and so forth and so on. So there's a lot that's going to happen over the course of the school year. We thank you for being with us. Stick with us. Please email us if you have any questions at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kazarian. So at this time, I would like to just ask if there's any questions that folks have to please go directly to the chat with them. Like I said, the students, the members of the office staff, and our fantastic teachers and guidance counselors are ready to answer any questions that you might have. And in years past, when we haven't had questions, I've asked some questions that seem to come up from year to year, but might not be as specific as the questions that you have about the Lawrence School. So just wait a minute and see what comes up in the chat here. And
We have
it
our
looks
first
like,
question.
go ahead, Mrs. Vieira. You can even pick which kid you think might want to answer it.
I'm actually going to toss it out to, let's see, Jazzy. Can you answer, tell us about PE dress code, please?
PE dress code is any sort of athletic pants, like anything from Nike or anything that has a sports brand. And the top is just something very easy, like it's something that you can just throw on and it's sporty so that you will be comfortable. And it's just something that's like more of the sportswear that you would wear usually for like games or something.
Excellent, thank you. All right, we have a second question of what is Bulldog time? Ms. Valesig, you want to take that one?
Sure. So Bulldog Time is something that's new this year. And I'm glad that we have it since we don't really have our traditional advisory period. So Bulldog Time is a time where students, it's essentially like an academic study period. Students can work on work that is due, you know, that was assigned that day. It's at the end of the day, 2 days a week. So right now with our schedule, Tuesdays and Fridays at the end of the day, we have Bulldog Time. And currently it's an 80-minute period. And I'm anticipating that will change. This will morph in some way when we go back to our traditional schedule. But it's really great that students have an opportunity to not only get some work done during the day, but they have time to check in with teachers. Teachers are using this as a time to check in with their students, make sure that they're getting any work done that may be missing, that they're getting extra help. I know there's a lot of teachers who are conducting Zoom extra help sessions during Bulldog time. And it's great to see a lot of students taking advantage of that. So that's basically what Bulldog time is now.
Excellent, thank you.
Ms. Cahill, did you want to add anything about Bulldog time, how you're using the time?
Sure. In Bulldog time, this is when band and choir meet virtually. So it's just new, obviously, for this year. And we hope to go back to meeting in person, but it's been a really useful time for band and choir to come together. We don't sing or play our instruments during that time, but we come together, everyone turns on their cameras, the teachers, myself and Mr. Fitek, the band teacher, I'm the choir director. We run through the activities for the week, which usually involves singing or playing an instrument. And the kids, and then during the week, send us recordings. And we just make sure that the Bulldog time is used so that kids know what to do for the rest of the week for music.
Thank you. All right, next we have a dress code question about our dress code colors only solid colors like black, white, or gray, or can they be other colors like blue, red, or green? I can get us started with that question very quickly. And anything that you wear on top must be a solid color, and it can be any color that you wish for your top. And then for anything that you wear on the bottom, it's a solid color as well, but the pants or shorts or skirts, whatever you choose to wear, your bottoms have to be tan, navy blue, black, hunter green, or gray. Did anyone else want to jump in on that question? Okay. Next is a little bit of a scheduling question. Students who are coming over from Morris Pond, are they automatically enrolled in Lawrence School, or do we have to fill out a new application? Very quick answer is you're enrolled, you're ready to go, and we'll be reaching out with some elective choices as we get going in the scheduling process.
The next question is from Zach. It says, I know that recess is not a thing in Lawrence. So what replaces recess? It's a good question. Any of our student panelists want to answer that one? You could talk about what our traditional lunch scenario looks like for the first 2 trimesters last year when you were in the cafeteria and then you had time after you finished up your food, what you guys might do. This is an easy one, Nathan Bushy.
Yeah, Nathan, what'd you do? What'd you do when you were done eating? Where'd we go?
Usually go outside for like 5 minutes, usually play some Gaga ball, throw on the football. You could sometimes play basketball on the courts.
So 5 minutes is probably a shorter amount of time that we would ideally have. Usually the kids eat their lunch in about 10 to 15 minutes. So it ends up being a solid 15 minutes outside for those who really want to get outside. So thank you, Nathan.
Next question is about the transition in Schoology. What can we do to help the kids learn Schoology? Great question. You know, I think that that's something that we will be working on with our transition in the spring, on how to give you some experience in Schoology and some, you know, transitioning from your Google Classroom. It is very similar in some respects, that it's an online program, but that's a very good point that will help with the transition because that's a new thing we have this year.
Ms. Vieira, maybe I can ask a question to one of our staff members, in as much as you also were teaching students who are accustomed to Google Classroom this fall how to use Schoology, with the added challenge of doing it through either securely or waiting till you saw a student when they came in on their in-person week. Can you talk about how maybe like how quickly the students were able to pick up on the basics for Schoology, or some of the challenges that you identified? Ms. Solich, Ms. Hennessy?
I can do that if you want. I don't know. We can both.
Yeah, we can do it together. I don't know.
Yeah. Because we're Miss Solich and I teach on the same team, so we often have the same issues with Schoology or successes with Schoology. It's been a big learning curve, and partly because the students and the teachers were learning it at the same time. But I think that the teachers and the students are doing better with it. It is complicated though. It's much more complicated than Google Classroom, that's for sure. But it has, because of its complications, it has a lot more possibilities. So it's just a matter of using it for what it is for, and to the best of our ability. But the kids had probably less trouble than the teachers, in all honesty. They seem to be much better at all of that than we are. So that's good because they troubleshoot for us. Ms. Solich?
Yeah, I would say the same thing. It's helpful to have some students in school because, like I would make an assignment, ask them to walk through the process with me of what it looks like on their side and what it looks like when they go to submit assignments, which helped me see their side in person. So that was really helpful with some kids. And I guess just say, be patient, because we're all working on it together, as Ms. Hennessy said. So, if you run into technical issues, just try to be patient, because we're trying to get through it together, I guess.
But to the point of the person who asked the question in the chat, I believe that this year there's been quite a few parent classes, so to help the parents get used to it, so the parents can help kids at home. So I'm sure that those will come out for the 6th grade parents too.
Thank you for bringing that up, Ms. Hennessy. There was a recent communication. The most recent superintendent communication had some information about the parent academies for tech, and I believe one was on Schoology as well.
Let's talk about what we have as extracurricular offerings, what activities we have available. Kira, can you talk a little bit? Have you been involved in any after school activities? Doesn't the beginning of 7th grade seem like so long ago? Any other student want to chime in if you've done an after school activity? All right.
Well, we do have a variety of extracurricular activities for the kids here as a refresher course, and for folks at home. We have a number of interscholastic sports teams, and starting in the fall, our 8th graders are usually able to participate with the freshman football team at the high school. We also have soccer, a boys and girls soccer team, a field hockey team. And then in the winter, we have basketball. And in the spring, we have track and field. And we also have intramural sports and a number of clubs. The clubs can change from year to year depending on what students are interested in. On any given year, we have National Junior Art Honor Society. There's a school play, so we have a pretty strong theater program, a Gay Straight Alliance. Recently, we had a Racial Justice Alliance as well. And we have a community service club. I'm sure there's some clubs I'm forgetting, a coding club, Chromebook repair group. So there's a variety of things that the kids can get involved in, and it does change year to year depending on what kids are interested in. Quite simply, they just have to find a staff member who is willing to serve as a coordinator for their group, and then we figure out a way to make it happen so we can provide the kids with as many experiences after school that we can. And of course, we've got vocal jazz and jazz band, right? Ms. Kayla, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, I'll just mention that we have some extra musical offerings, and they usually happen before school. So at around 7:15, we have jazz band once a week, and we actually have an a cappella singing group as well that meets once a week. And I also personally help out with the musical because it's not just a play, it's a musical usually. And so we have rehearsals for that after school.
Thank you.
Excellent. Sorry, Mr. Bushy, I think I was talking over you. Our next question is, how do students pick electives? So any of our students, if you recall, when you came into the school, you had to choose something like a language, French or Spanish. Do you remember how we did that process? Jazzy?
You usually get a piece of paper or a little form that has all the activities like the Spanish class, French class, the bands that you can choose from, or the other activities, and you just check off whichever ones you like. And you have 3 options in case you don't get into one of them. So you pick 3 of them, you pick which one you want for first, second, and third. And if your first 2 don't work out, you choose your third.
Excellent,
Thanks,
thank you.
Jazzy. Mr. Perea-Kane, can I ask you to talk a little bit about what 7th grade languages could look like, French, Spanish, and world languages and culture?
Yeah, so the language program is a very exciting new thing for you guys as you come into 7th grade. You take either French or Spanish or world language and culture, and we try to emphasize proficiency, which means we're emphasizing getting more and more fluent in the language and focusing on what you can do with a foreign language rather than kind of getting hung up on feeling like overwhelmed. And we do learn grammar, but it's in context. So we're trying to learn like phrases and how to do kind of real world things, like how would you write to a pen pal, or how would you have a conversation? And those are kind of the type of assessments that we do. So we do practice with multiple choice questions and vocab review and sort of the traditional things too, but we really want you to have a good early on experience with learning the language and to be excited about it, because we notice a lot of students are really excited about learning a foreign language when they come into 7th grade, and we want to keep that momentum up and keep encouraging you and getting you to more and more fluent.
Thanks, Dan. A couple of questions about leggings.
Can we wear leggings? Cameron, are leggings allowed?
I know last year kids were wearing leggings with their skirts because it gets cold in the winter, of course.
Yeah, awesome. So leggings are something that you can wear underneath, but it's not something that you can wear as your regular pants. Leggings are okay for PE dress code. And that takes us to the next question. Can you guys talk about your experience now that you're in Lawrence? We do change. We have the students go to the locker room and change for PE. Can you talk about your experience using the locker room?
Usually the boys change in front of each other and the girls change in front of each other. You just bring your gym clothes. You don't have to. You can just wear your usual dress code, but you can choose to change in front of each other, or you could use the stalls that are in the locker rooms.
Yeah, does anyone have anything else to add about that? Your options of it's an open locker room where there are some stalls. Can someone talk about that a little bit more?
In the girls' locker room, there's 3 different areas where there's lockers. So there's 3 different rows, and you can change in between those. Or there's a whole group of showers with curtains, so you can change behind those, or you can go change in the bathroom stalls. Or you could just wear your regular dress code if you want.
Thank you. So yes, there are some options for changing for PE. Is there a cooking club?
I can answer that question. Currently, we do not have a cooking club, but we have in the past had a cooking club that was supported by a Falmouth Education Foundation grant to purchase some of the cooking materials that we needed. And we had a community member come and meet with the kids once every couple of weeks, I think, down in the life skills room. And they did just what you would think. They prepared some food in the cooking club, and the kids that participated were really into it. And I think some of them have gone off to explore cooking as a career path now.
So I think, Mr. Bushy, that kind of is to your point from before when we were talking about all the activities and how they kind of change year to year. And following up on the next question of, do we have a chess club? We have these clubs, and if you have a group of students that are interested in creating a club, our staff can serve as an advisor. So you just need to talk with your teachers if you have an interest and you have a group, and we've been able to match people up so that we can have some of these interest clubs that kids come up with year to year.
There was a question before about the collared shirt. Did we talk about that? Did we answer that one?
Oh, I missed that one, sorry. Oh, do tops need to be a collared shirt? Any student want to chime in on dress code?
Yes. They do have to be collared tops. And if you have sweatshirts, they could be small sweaters, but your collar has to be on the outside. Unless you have a collared sweater, then you can have your collared shirt under it.
Thank you. So a scheduling question, how do students get chosen for different teams? I don't know if anyone of the counselors wanted to take that, or I can chime in that we use a Power School program that's not only a program that holds our grades and our attendance, but it is our scheduling program. So students are assigned randomly to different teams, and those teams and selections are entered also with your elective choices. So, you know, again, based on your electives and use of this program is how you get dispersed amongst the teams.
There's another question about whether we have a woodworking class here. Does either one of our counselors want to talk about what 8th grade engineering class might traditionally look like? No takers? All right, so I will just talk a little bit about the engineering classes. In 7th grade, the students here participated in some hands-on activities in 7th grade, the elective of engineering, which is on a trimester schedule. And in the 8th grade, our engineering program does have a look about it like a woodworking class, although they are addressing standards that might be assessed on the STE MCAS test, but they are absolutely using power tools, drills, saws, and they are constructing, depending on what trimester they're in there. If they're in there for the winter, they might be constructing sled type, like a dog sled type thing with wheels that they would have a competition, a friendly competition to see who can make the fastest sled with the team to bring it around the school. Or the other trimester might be doing a Da Vinci Dash where they are building catapults, if you will. So lots of like hands-on, applicable science and engineering work that they will do in there in 8th grade. Do any of the 7th grade, do any of the students here want to talk about what their experience in engineering for 7th grade was, if you had it for 1st or 2nd trimester last year?
Usually you'd make bottled rockets and solar cars and make robots from code and stuff. It's really fun and enjoyable.
Thanks, Nathan. And Miss Hennessy, maybe you could talk a little bit about what the organized excitement looks like when you get together for a solar car race where the whole team is together.
Oh, sure. It's the whole team competes. The kids usually work in pairs, I believe. The kids can correct me if I'm wrong, or teams anyway, and they create a car, but it has certain requirements, like it has to be able to carry an empty can or something like that, and then it has to have a solar array on the top. So, but it also for some reason, because we can't be outside at certain times of the year, sometimes it has a battery, but it's quite a race to the death. You know, people are very excited about it. And then there's a decorating part of it, which I think is really interesting too. So, you know, how many things can my car carry and still go the farthest? There's a lot of excitement that day. It's quite a great day, actually.
It is. It's definitely one of the things that I'm missing the most about school this year is not seeing the kids in their group fun and competitive events that they have. There's a question here about, can boys wear shorts?
Yes, you can wear shorts. They just have to be khaki.
Many of the boys want to wear shorts every month of the year too, and that's fine. It's warm enough in the building. There's another question. Does the school have any regular interactions or activities with other schools in the region? That is a good question. Does anyone here want to take a shot at answering that one? There are some examples. Go ahead, Ms. Cahill.
Yes, for music students, we participate in the Southeast District Festival. So this would be for students who are willing to audition. And if they pass the audition, they will get to perform in an orchestra or in a choir with students from all over the Southeast District in March, usually.
Okay. We also have a Best Buddies group that has some interactions with other schools. Our interscholastic sports programs will compete with students from other schools. And a couple years ago, we had a collaboration with a student group at Falmouth Academy, and they had a bowling outing on Main Street.
I also forgot
math club too. The math team was something that competed with other schools.
And I just forgot to mention as well, we have a more informal gathering of music students. The band, like a jazz band, would meet in a school somewhere on the Cape. Every year we decide on a different school, and all school members will come, like a small group, maybe about 20 kids from each school will meet and perform together. And that's not audition based, and the same for choir.
Don't bother unmuting, Ms. Cahill. There's another question in the chat about ukuleles.
I was waiting for that one. So this year has been very exciting. You know, COVID has brought a lot of challenges, but one of the exciting portions of this year was that we added a ukulele program, which I don't see ever disappearing. It was always a dream of mine to get the ukuleles going at the Lawrence School, but it was a kind of a financial thing. But now we have the ukuleles, and so we have students who are in my class right now get to play every other day if they have me in the classroom. And next year going forward, we'll probably combine it with the existing guitar curriculum. So very hands-on music programs at the Lawrence School.
Awesome. You answered the question that had come up about guitars as well. Thank you. So there's no more questions in the chat here, unless someone feels like we missed one and you want to take the next couple minutes to just put it back in the bottom of the chat so we can make sure we get there. But I want to give some of our panelists who didn't get an opportunity to speak an opportunity right now if they want. If there's anything that maybe Mr. Gonzalez or Ms. Sample or Dr. Valdez would like to share about what makes the Lawrence School a great place for our students to learn and grow. And it looks like Ms. Cassavant wants to go first.
I'll say something. Oh, sorry. We always do this, Miss Cassavant. I'll just say real quick, you know, I know obviously it's a big transition, and a lot of students, I think, you know, feel pretty anxious about at times moving from Morse Pond to Lawrence, because it is a bit more of a, you know, moving from an elementary school kind of model, like to a high school model. But I want to echo what was said earlier, that, you know, we really are super, super supportive of all the kids. If there's any, you know, worries or questions, or, you know, just anything comes up, please feel free to, you know, shoot me an email. I'm happy to problem solve or answer any questions, you know, you or your students may have. And we're really, really excited to welcome them aboard to Lawrence. And hopefully next year we'll be back to business as usual. But I just wanted to say that. And hello.
Thanks, Ms. Bourne. There's a couple more questions, but I offer an opportunity if Ms. Sample or anyone else wants to jump in, just go ahead and unmute yourself and tag in whenever. There was a question about being required to play an instrument. Ms. Kayla, do you want to take that one?
Well, the 7th grade music class is a general music class. So while you'll have an opportunity to play, we're not very strict on exact, performance levels like you might have for a band situation. So it's a casual way of learning an instrument, more for the individual. So I would say, yes, you get an opportunity to play, put it that way.
Thank you. And there was a question about whether we have a student council, and I can take that question. We have a student warrant committee here. One of the other lasting initiatives of our Innovation School plan is our student government, which mirrors our town's government, with a warrant committee where they have an annual school town meeting. And some of the changes that we've had in the school in recent years have been driven by students when they see something about the school building that they hope to amend, change, or add. They have had the lockers painted, they've had facilities upgrades, and they've also had some changes to our dress code. They wanted to expand some offerings of colors that we offered. So so they had that amendment passed, and we're able to see some of the changes come to play even in their time here at the school. Good question about student council. Another question about, in a normal year, what is the average class size? Ms. Cassavant, I think now is your chance to share.
Well, thanks. I would say probably around like 18 to 22 is a typical class size. This year is obviously a little smaller, but I think that would be the normal class size.
All right. There's a question about, I'm going to put a 10-minute warning on it right now out of respect of everybody's time, especially our panelists who probably still have emails to respond to and plans to get in place and homework to do, independent remote work, that is. Can you play multiple instruments? Another one for Ms. Cahill.
If you're in band, you get to play, I'm just going to give an example, flute, trombone, clarinet, any type of instrument that it would be normally in a band. And if you're in, you can also choose instead to sing. And if you're in the general music 7th grade, it's guitar and ukulele. And in 8th grade, it's piano, basic piano skills and music technology.
Thank you. And another question just came in about field trips. Given COVID will be gone, fingers crossed. Good question. Do any of the team teachers here want to talk about some field trips that they've taken? Because the answer is yes, we do have some exciting field trip opportunities here as a school.
I can talk. We have gone to the aquarium before, which is always a fun trip. And we also see usually an IMAX movie that relates to the curriculum, which is kind of fun to do as well. We've done that in the past. So that's a fun trip that I always look forward to.
Band and choir go to a music festival at the end of the year, and it's usually in Springfield, and we will normally follow that up with going to the amusement park, the Six Flags amusement park, for the afternoon.
How about any of our students who want to share an experience that you had? Well, actually, did you guys have any fall trips last year that you can talk about? Any smaller trips?
There's always a fall team building trip. For every team takes one.
I think Kira was going to say something.
Yeah. Last year I was in band and we had step up night, which we went to the high school and we played with them.
Good example.
There's another thing, I don't know if it's for all teams, but some teams do a little thing where they take a small field trip and make banners for the school about pride, courage, and they choose like a park or something. Like last year we went to Goodwill Park. We played a little hide and seek game with something, and then we did a banner. And you can either do finger painting on it, splatter paint, or whatever. You just basically connect with all the people, and you have a certain group of people that you just build a banner with.
Thanks, Jazzy. Our field trips are primarily funded by our wonderful parent-teacher organization, who in years past have spoke at this event to try and build interest of getting family members to participate in that. So you will be hearing more from our PTO at some point, and hopefully we have as many family members as we can get involved in that. So I don't see any more questions in the chat. Hopefully we were able to answer as many of your questions as possible, but we do know there are likely more questions, or maybe people were wanting to ask one of us specifically something, and you can email any one of the panelists here, the adult panelists here, any follow-up questions you have. If you're not certain who to get in touch with, I am happy to field as many emails as possible and either answer them myself or put you in touch with someone who will be able to help out any questions specifically pertaining to special education. Dr. Valdez can manage, or our wonderful guidance counselors or the teachers here are happy to help out. If you have broad questions, some documents that are helpful can be found on our school's website. The program of studies is there. It gives some general overview about some more curriculum-based questions that you might have. And our student handbook is on there. You can learn a lot about how business is run here at the Lawrence School. And there's a document called the Be in the Know, which is a kind of cliff notes for our handbook, which is very long. That will give you some specific short tidbits of information about life at the Lawrence School. So in closing, I just want to thank our panelists for coming tonight, and I want to thank the attendees that came from Morse Pond. I hope that everyone has a wonderful evening, and I hope to hear from many of you as we work to make this transition to Lawrence School as smooth as possible for our students and our families. With that, I want to say I'm going to end the meeting, and I hope everyone has a wonderful night. Thank you, everyone.